My name's Brent de Jong. I've flown in from Houston, Texas. I know everybody else has come in from a lot of different fun places. I am the CEO of a company called Qenta, Qenta. For you Latin speakers, it's not Qenta, like a count, but Qenta. It's a German word that we borrowed and brought it, on the global stage. And I'm also run a family office, so we'll talk this afternoon about the family office, but Qenta focuses on programmable money. It's a fintech company, and also access, really, to the international markets. Kirsty, come on up, we'll grab a seat. So in that context, we've built on blockchain layer 1 through layer 4, and I get the opportunity to introduce Kirsty. So Kirsty is, you'll get to know her, real quick if you haven't already. The two things that will stand out, one is her enthusiasm is just infectious, and energy to pursue interesting things. But the other thing is you'll learn quickly her nickname is Kiki. She's super friendly, so I encourage everybody talk to her and get to know her. Kirsty's really a serial entrepreneur, both at heart and also in practice. Her first business venture was in the teens. Yeah. I think it was 15 yeah. years old. And has brought that through a number of successful small businesses, not necessarily in blockchain. She's actually newer to the blockchain space over the last year or so. Yeah. So we'll unpack that a little bit, ask you a few questions, and share with the audience. But has been around technology, for most of her career. And so, with that, let me just kind of I'm going to put you on the spot with a few different questions. Early on, we heard the whole concept of trustlessness, which is a core ethos to blockchain. And yet you're doing something at Clear Sparrow that is just the opposite. It's trusted. So tell us a little bit about why trustedness is central to what you're doing, and maybe share a little bit about the products that you're bringing forward.
Sure. So to put things in context, Clear Sparrow is the first safety app for online dating. So essentially, you have the issue of trust between two people that just met online, right? So you get excited about meeting this person, but you are absolutely terrified that this other person might be violent. You have no idea about their background. So there's no real way to currently verify. You can try to background check and do stuff like that, but those identities can be absolutely fake. So there is no real mechanism for these two people to actually verify that they are safe or good to go. So we created Clear Sparrow to solve the trust issue between these two people. So the biggest issue is they need to know that they are safe. So what Clear Sparrow, what it allows is for these two people to exchange third-party verifiable data with a click of a button. So Clear Sparrow sources all verifiable data and brings it into the platform and actually exchange it on the orders of each one of the daters. So if you think about the issue of trust, yes, we're going to become an entity that it needs to build the trust, but then we're bringing all the trustless protocols in order to bring trust into my platform. So by using blockchain, we're bringing transparency and auditability. So, yeah.
No, that's great. So you came to blockchain, you're really a businesswoman that's pursued several different businesses. Why blockchain versus just a central, system of technology that you're, carrying this use case forward?
I think developing this business model with current technologies would have been impossible. Because essentially you're telling two people to say, okay, you trust me now. There's no reason, why would they, right? And the second thing is blockchain, especially BSV. So if I tried to do this with other chains, it wouldn't have been financially viable. Here I can use that trustless system massively to essentially trace every transaction, every piece of data, so I can assure every single one of my clients that the data that I'm displaying is correct. It can be traced back to the source, and their authorization is also traceable. So it is a completely It's not, you never can say 100% secure, but it's quite secure. And we have built on top of that a layer of biometric security by partners that are currently servicing the US government. So we're really kind of bulletproofing this whole model.
So Web 3.0 is talked about a lot in handling of data.
Yes.
Are you Web 3.0 compliant, or how does that relevant to you?
We're building in that direction. So the whole point of Clear Sparrow is to give ownership of the data to the users, control of their identity to the user, and also control over the monetization of their data. So we're going to be handling essentially, I mean, online dating is 50 million users and growing. So we have the potential of becoming one of the largest databases for identity, criminal records, and even electronic healthcare records. So when it comes to Web3, if we have opportunities to monetize, one of the things that we're building into the platform is micropayments. So with the authorization of the users, then we can monetize this data and they get a share of it. And obviously, the user is 100% in control. I can't do anything without their consent.
So obviously, to be verified, access to data is an important theme. How are you getting access? You said criminal records. What other data are you getting access to?
Electronic healthcare records.
Okay.
So
that's a loaded topic.
That is a huge topic, and that connects into my years of advisory into the healthcare and electronic healthcare record space. But essentially, we have created a new workflow that allows to instantly access electronic healthcare records. I get it at the same speed that the emergency room gets the electronic healthcare records, and we do it being HIPAA compliant.
So criminal, healthcare,
and identity. Now, identity, we use it for KYC. Once we identify, then we tie that to their biometrics, and that becomes the new identity.
So, the whole identity space is loaded with regulation.
Yes.
Healthcare, as much or
HIPAA.
if not more than just, so HIPAA. Let's take just that regulatory framework. How are you able to be compliant with HIPAA? Or maybe what are the pitfalls for those who are less familiar with HIPAA that you have to be careful of?
Yes, well, there's two aspects to HIPAA. There is the acquisition of data, that you have to do it in a very specific fashion to do it HIPAA compliant. So it has to be ordered by a physician. It requires additional certifications, regulations, registrations, and then you have the storage of that data. You have to, even we stored it de-identified. So you have to comply with certain regulations in order to make sure that you don't violate any of the HIPAA compliance in terms either of storage, safety, and access.
So your kind of future, that Clear Sparrow being perhaps on multiple dating sites and people sharing, how will the world be better, or how will it be different than, I guess maybe more trusted, or how would you describe that future state when this is available widely?
Well, we see ourselves kind of like the MasterCard of the dating world, and we're just transacting data between parties. I don't care what dating site they're on. They can always come to Clear Sparrow. I'm on the site. I'm an advocate for the user's safety. So this is a model that can be implemented for many things. Like, for example, if you have employers and they need certified employees, we can also do that. So if you're applying for a job that needs a yearly certification, there you go. So you can use this platform for many applications moving forward, but it all boils down to transparency and trust and how you can really accelerate that process, which is kind of, there's no real good way of doing it right now, unless you're the government or have very advanced tools and financial resources. So this is an everyday kind of tool.
And as you, so let me come back to one of the earlier questions, kind of buzzwords within blockchain and stuff. Was it easy to learn, and why Bitcoin, SV versus another protocol? How did you end up kind of on this path?
So I was dragged by a friend. So
it's always the case, right?
Yeah, he was like, okay, you're involved in all these spaces. You have to learn about BSV. And for me, it was always, blockchain is cumbersome, it's slow, it's not there yet. It was always that kind of vibe. He says, you have to come with me to one of these conferences. So I went to one of the conferences in Miami, and I actually started talking to the different business partners. Some of them are here today. So essentially, we started working together, and everybody started collaborating. So one of the greatest things about this VSB community is that everybody's building the building blocks that you can actually attach into your business and make it more successful. So that's why it wasn't easy, but it was actually a very nice collaboration. It has flown very well, yeah.
So with the investment in technology and workflows and access in the United States to data, how hard is that then to move to another country or to another pool of information or data in terms of things?
So I get that question all the time. It depends on how organized the countries, right? So for example, Asia is a good market, Middle East a good market, all Europe is a good market. Now you go to Latin America, not so much of a good market because they essentially don't have electronic healthcare records. And their idea is, it's okay. So it just presents natural challenges. So you have to kind of choose your market and expand there. It's essentially a derivative of quality data that you can get.
Nice. So and you set out on this journey in the last couple of years, quite recently.
Yeah.
And have you set specific goals for yourselves as in terms of first launch dates and things like that?
Yeah, we want to be out before Valentine's Day next year. I think it would be useful. Yes, we have that launch date, and then obviously grow this. We already have inquiries from government, and to implement this into other spaces, we have also inquiries from technology partners that would say, hey, that engine looks really good. How about we, attach this and then we grow it that way. So that's kind of the roadmap, but Clear Sparrow is the first one. It's very visible, it's very hot. Everybody has heard of Tinder Swindler. Media is kind of interested in writing about it. So it can be one of those models that solves a very big problem for a very big audience, and it can be monetized in so many ways that we just went for dating it.
So I learned something last night. The sparrow is... You want to maybe tell the story?
Yeah, well, in Greek mythology, the sparrow is the animal that represents love. It's on the shoulder of Aphrodite, but in reality is the most promiscuous animal in the planet. So that's how
I think appropriately named for the use case that you're tackling.